What is up, guys? This is Matt with Top Tier here for another video today. Today I'm going to be ranking all of the video game controllers. As you can see, we've got all of them down here. Our tiers today, we have S tier, that's the top tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, F tier, but then we also have garbage tier, and then we have one that's worse than garbage. I don't know if any are actually going to achieve that tier, but we'll see. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this. I'm going to try to do this in chronological order. And I'm going to start off with the OG NES controller. I'm going to give this controller a D tier. I might get hate for this, man, but you know what? Compared to some of the other controllers on this list, this is just kind of an alright controller. It was good for its time, but yeah, not a whole lot to say about it. The original NES controller gets the D tier for me. After that, let's go ahead and do the Pro Grip. I'm going to also put the Pro Grip in the D tier. I really don't know a whole lot about it, but from what I heard, it wasn't all that. The Sega Master System controller, kind of similar to the NES one, that is also going to get a D tier. I think that's where it belongs. Just kind of a meh controller, kind of alright, you know, right in the middle there. D tier isn't horrible because you have to remember we have garbage tier and we also have worse than garbage, so take it for what it is. At least you're getting the D tier right off the bat. But moving on from that, we have, I think what would probably come next is probably the PC joystick, I would have to say. And for that, I'm giving it a C tier. There's plenty of applications for joysticks nowadays. I know I think Flight Simulator is pretty popular with it. I'm not really entirely too sure. But they were okay back in the day. They had their uses. I just wouldn't give it any higher than a C because the uses are kind of limited for that one. So yeah, PC joysticks get a C. Moving on, we have the SNES controller. The SNES controller was pretty good. It was a huge step up from NES, but you know, compared to modern controllers, it just doesn't really stack up. It's good for playing 2D side scrollers, of course. But it definitely has its limitations. So I'm going to go ahead and give the Super Nintendo controller the C tier. Moving on from there, we're going to do I believe this is the Sega Genesis controller. That's also, no, it's not a garbage tier. Sega Genesis is also going to get a C tier. I like the Sega Genesis controller. It was pretty good. I thought it was just as well. I thought the layout for the Super Nintendo controller was a little bit better, personally. But the Sega Genesis controller was fine too. I think that also gets a C tier. Yeah, all in all, a decent controller. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I was never that big of a Sega Genesis person, but I thought it was fine. Same with the other Sega one here. I don't know if this is the Sega Saturn, but I never really owned that console. But I'm going to go ahead and give it a C tier just because it's pretty damn similar to the Sega Genesis controller. So yeah, we'll leave that there in C. That looks good. I think that's about right. I think it belongs in the C tier. From there, let's go ahead and move on. I think we're still in the 16-bit era, or are we not? Have we moved on from there? Yeah, okay. So after these would probably be the original PlayStation controller. And I think that's also a C tier as well. The original DualShock PlayStation 1 controller was pretty damn solid, I have to say. And it came out first before the N64 controller, I think. So it was definitely way ahead of its time with the two dual analog sticks. I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was great. So yeah, it's getting a C tier from me. And moving on from there, what do we have? We probably N64 controller. This is a weird one, man. I'm gonna go ahead and give it the D tier. I don't think it's garbage or an F tier, but yeah, it's definitely a weird controller. I really don't know what they were thinking when they designed this. It works great for some games, but it's just not that intuitive. The layout is just weird. How most of the time your left hand's going to be on the center, your right hand is on the right side, of course, which is kind of weird. Yeah, honestly, I liked the N64, but I thought the controller was kind of weird, so it's getting a D tier from me. Moving on from that, we probably have next up with nothing. No, game controller's good. Probably the Gran Turismo branded steering wheel thing here. That's also going to get a C. Steering wheels are great. People use them today for all kinds of racing games and simulators. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them a C. They're great. They just have limited use, you know. So the steering wheel here is getting a C for me. I think that's where it belongs. Moving on from there, I'm gonna go ahead and do the GameCube controller. I think that's next up, actually. And for the GameCube controller, I'm gonna give that an A tier. In my opinion, the GameCube controller is damn good. People love the GameCube controller. It's still being made to this day. People use it for Smash and other things as well. But the GameCube controller is now just absolutely legendary and iconic, so it's definitely the first A on this list, I would have to say. I love the GameCube controller. I remember when I first got my GameCube, just thinking how big of a step up it was from the N64. So yeah, GameCube controller is getting the A, first A tier we have today. After that, we have the original Xbox controller. Nothing wrong with the original Xbox controller. I just didn't think it was that fantastic. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a C. There's obviously much better Xbox controllers than this one, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible. I think it's right along line with these other ones here. Yeah. So, anyways, I actually only had an Xbox One briefly, so I didn't get to experience it that much. But I'm gonna go ahead and give it a C. I think that's where it belongs. The PS2 controller, I think that was also a C tier. Yeah, this is kind of C heavy again, but whatever. Pretty average controller. I thought it was damn good for its time, you know. But yeah, I don't know. Great controller. Getting a C tier. Do the original Xbox. Okay, so we've got all that gen out of the way pretty much. So let's move on to the 7th gen, I think it was. And so the first one to come out was probably, I think it was the Xbox 360, I believe. And I'm gonna give the 360 the controller. How is it? It's pretty damn good. I'm gonna give the 360 controller B tier just because there's other ones that I like more. Really, really rock solid controller. Don't have anything really bad to say about it. There's just ones that I like more on this list. So yeah, the original 360 controller is getting a B from me. Next up, we have the Wiimote. You know what? I'm gonna get hate for this. Whatever. I didn't care for the Wiimote. I thought it was just all right. Yeah, some games worked well with it. Others were just a complete disaster. So Wiimote is getting the D tier. It's getting the D. I don't know. I'm glad we've moved on for that era, honestly. It was cool for its time when it first came out, but not for hardcore gamers. It's just... I don't know. Not too many of the games actually use this well. There's only a couple games that I could really say really benefited from. So, yeah, Wiimote is getting the D tier. And then for the Wii U, the Wiimote steering wheel is getting an F, man. I'm not a fan of it. It's just really gimmicky. Not a fan. Yeah, same with the Donkey Kong bongo drums. I never really had these, but the use cases for these are just so limited. I can't really justify giving them any kind of rank on here. They're not better than any of these, I don't think. So yeah. Anyways, F tier for these guys right here. They're not garbage. You know, they have their use cases, but they're not anything higher than that in my opinion. So yeah. Anyways. The Wii Pro controller, I'm thinking this was an okay controller. I didn't really care for it that much. The Wii U Pro controller and the Switch Pro controller are way better than this one. So I don't know. I just didn't like how it felt. It felt kind of cheap. I'm giving it a D. Again, with this other Wii controller, I didn't like it. Getting a D. I mean, you could use it for like plenty of games, I'm sure, but I think I had one briefly, and I didn't really care for it all that much. Not an F tier, but definitely a D tier. I think, anyways. Oh, and I forgot the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast controller was also a D tier. I didn't like the Dreamcast controller. Sorry, Dreamcast people, Dreamcast guy, but yeah, that's getting a D tier for me. Wasn't a huge fan. Let's see here. So what do we have next? We're moving on. Oh, I could do the Guitar Hero controller. Yeah, Guitar Hero is tight, man. I wasn't that big into it, but a lot of people absolutely love Guitar Hero. I did play it a little bit back when it was popular. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the Guitar Hero guitar a B. People have beaten games with this guitar, and it's cool. I mean, what can I say? Definitely an iconic controller. So yeah, Guitar Hero is getting a B. Moving on from that, what do we have next? That is the... Oh, damn it. Let's see. What do we have next? This was actually the PS... PS3. Yeah, I mean, that's also a C tier. I can't tell if that's a PS3 or PS2, but I think they're right about the same. They didn't really change much, so yeah. Getting to C tier. I don't know what the hell this one is. What is this? This looks like garbage. This is a garbage tier one. I don't know what that is. Sorry, whoever, if people are a fan of this controller, I don't even know what console this is for, but yeah, I think it's for the Ouya or something. Yeah, I don't know. It just looks like a cheap knockoff. Sorry. Next up, we probably had the Wii U, and we're gonna start with the Wii U gamepad. The Wii U gamepad. I'm gonna give it a D tier. Just kind of a half. You know, it's just kind of, it just seemed like a prototype of what the Switch should be. Yeah, the Switch is what the Wii U should have been, essentially. The Wii U gamepad, I don't like it. It was just too bulky. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I don't really have too much more to say about the Wii U gamepad. I'm gonna give it a D tier. So moving on from that, the Wii U Pro Controller. Now the Wii U Pro Controller is nice, man. The Wii U Pro Controller gets an A tier from me. That is a solid controller. Really long battery life on it, which is great. It just feels good in your hands. What else can I say about it? Really, really great controller. Yeah, it's a good controller. I'm giving it an A tier. A tier for sure. Okay, moving on. We have the Xbox One controller. This is a damn good controller. Very, very versatile. I have one that I use with my PC. I use it for PC gaming, actually. And it is outstanding. I love this controller. It just feels good in your hands. It's very, very versatile. It has a long battery life. Yeah, I love the Xbox One controller. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. It's just all around a damn good controller. I think A tier. It fits right in with the other A tier ones. It's perfect. And with that being said, I'm also going to throw the Xbox One Elite controller up there as well. I think it's in the same category. Both phenomenal controllers. Nothing bad to say about them whatsoever. I love the Xbox One controller. It's just awesome. Moving on from that, the PS4 controller. PS4 controller is also pretty good. I don't think it's quite as good as the Xbox One controller, but it is damn good. It's definitely a high tier controller for sure. Love the PS4 controller. Let's see here. Now we're gonna get into the Switch. The Switch is the latest console out of all these. The Joy-Cons. Where do the Joy-Cons belong? Are they B's? Are they C's? I'm gonna give them B's. I'm gonna give the Joy-Cons a B just because there's so much tech packed into them. They're not for people with big hands though. They're decent. There's a lot of tech packed in. The motion control's fine. I just wish they would come out with more Joy-Cons, but I don't know. All in all, they're not bad. The stick drift is actually terrible. I'm gonna go ahead. I might even knock it down for that, but no, I'm gonna leave it because when they do work, they work. But the stick drift thing is seriously a huge issue. They didn't get sorted out. Hopefully soon. Yeah, because I don't know if they ever will, but that's just a huge problem. A huge mark on the Switch. You know, the quality of these Joy-Cons just needs to be improved. But anyways, Joy-Cons the Joy-Cons are getting a B from me. The Switch Pro Controller, this is my favorite controller actually. It's grown on me so much. I have big ass hands, I'm not gonna lie. So for me, the Switch controller is perfect. I love the button layout. Everything about the Switch controller I love. The battery life on it is pretty great. It's USB-C. I have literally nothing negative to say about this Switch controller. It feels the best in your hands out of any controller I've ever felt. So I'm giving the Switch Pro Controller an S, the first S on this list. And on top of that, we have the keyboard and mouse. The keyboard and mouse is also an S tier. It's up there, man. Keyboard and mouse is the way to play. I love playing on my PC. So many games, especially shooters and first-person games, are just so much better with a keyboard and mouse, and they give you such an advantage. I'm not gonna lie about that. So yeah, these are my two favorites. Definitely Switch Pro Controller and just a keyboard and mouse, man. Definitely S tier for me. And yeah, to cap this off, in S tier we have Switch Pro Controller, keyboard and mouse. In A tier we have GameCube, Wii U, Xbox One, and Xbox Elite. In B tier we have the Xbox 360, Guitar Hero, PS4 controller, and the Switch Joy-Cons. In C tier we have the computer joystick, SNES controller, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, original PS1, a steering wheel, the original Xbox, PS2 and PS3. In D tier we have NES, the controller. I don't know what this is, probably the Ouya or something. But yeah, nothing is worse than garbage. I mean, they all have their use cases for the most part. So yeah. Anyways, that's my tier list for today, and this is ranking the top gaming controllers. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite gaming controller of all time is in the comment section below. That would be awesome. As always, be sure to drop a like if you enjoy this content, and consider subscribing for more tier lists like this. Anyways, thank you guys, and until next time.